Hello there, thanks for coming back. This is video 2 in our series, Edit a Sermon for Radio. I'm sure you already know your finished product is only as good as your original recording. That's why it is essential to start with the best and clearest recording possible. So let's start by looking at your recording setup and what equipment you're going to need. The sound system you are using probably looks something like this. The audio from the preacher's microphone is sent to the audio mixer. Here, you can adjust your sound levels. You may also have audio processing equipment to make the audio sound clearer, for example, an equalizer or a compressor. After this, the audio is amplified and sent to your speakers. The extra component we're going to add to this setup is a recording device, most likely a computer. Let's look at each of these one at a time, and we'll start with the preacher's microphone. A good quality microphone is essential to give you clear audio. We do not recommend a handheld microphone, firstly because of handling noise. Secondly, it's very hard for the preacher to hold it in exactly the same position all the time. If a microphone is moved, the volume will fluctuate, which makes the message difficult to hear. Now, a podium microphone is better, but the preacher can't move. He's got to stay close to the microphone. To keep the volume constant, we recommend a lapel mic or a headset mic, because they stay in the one position. Here's 4 hints. Make sure you have no interference issues between the speaker's transmitter and receiver. Make sure batteries are charged or changed on the day of recording. Position the microphone so that there is no popping. It sounds awful on the radio. And always do a test recording so you can listen back and identify any placement problems. Now, the mixer, sometimes called an audio console. Your existing mixer may work perfectly for recording. However, you will need to either repair or replace it if it produces unwanted noise like clicks, static, or hiss. Now, you may not hear noise through your speakers, but you will hear it on the recording. So this is another reason to do test recordings before you start recording your program. A mixer probably has auxiliary functionality. That's written as AUX. This is commonly used for sending audio to external effects boxes and fallback speakers. Make sure your mixer has a spare auxiliary loop, because this will be used to isolate the preacher's microphone and send only that to the recording device. The sermon recording you make will be edited later, so it's essential that the recording has no other audio, only the preacher's voice. If your auxiliary section has a button labeled PFL, make sure that this is pressed down. The audio being sent to the recording machine must be totally separate to the audio being sent to the speakers. Pressing this button will make sure in-house volume control will not affect the volume of the recording. Now, the recording device. The most obvious one is a computer. A laptop with the free Audacity software should be fine. This machine must be dedicated to recording audio only. It must not be used for running the PowerPoint or accessing Facebook. And you need to turn off all system sounds. Like that. There are other devices you can use. Make sure it's a digital device like a portable audio recorder. But to be honest, a computer is the simplest option. For audio format, I recommend WAV, because it stands up better during the editing process. Some mixers have the option of recording directly to an external hard drive or USB drive. Now just make sure the device has enough space for a full sermon. A rough guide is 1 minute of stereo audio equals 20 megabytes of space, so a 1 hour recording is 1.2 gigabytes. One component that's often overlooked is the cables that link everything together. Do make sure that you're using good quality audio cables. Cheap or old cables can create unwanted noise in your recording. When you play back your test recording, one thing to listen out for is unwanted ground hum. This is really distracting on a voice recording. It's usually caused by interference from your electricity supply, and it happens when audio devices are connected together. Here are some tips to get rid of that. Keep audio cables away from power-hungry devices. This includes power amplifiers and power transformers. Plug all your electrical devices, including the recording device, into the one mains point or a dedicated mains circuit. Keep the stage lighting and coffee machine on a different mains circuit. If you're using a computer to record, plug it into its own multi-box or extension cable that has the ground pin removed. When buying audio cables, try to get ones that are both shielded and balanced. If you have mains and audio cables near each other, try and keep them apart at least by 100 millimeters. If audio and mains cables need to cross each other, make sure it's at a 90-degree angle. Or alternatively, buy a DI box and insert that between the mixer and the recording device. A passive one will work fine. And I'll say it one more time: record, listen back, and evaluate. An audio compressor is a device that automatically keeps the volume even. If the audio from the preacher's microphone is routed through a compressor on its way to the recording device, just listen and make sure it sounds okay. Sometimes compressors can add unwanted noise to a voice recording. If you need to add compression or equalization to the voice, remember this can be done later during editing. In our next video, we'll look at the process of recording the sermon. Until then, happy broadcasting.